Hi and welcome. Max Kay here, standing in for Gary Mitchell, who's in Melbourne right now having some plastic surgery. Now, I won't tell you which part of the body he's having done, but suffice to say he's having a couple of pair of new trousers made. On our letters tonight, the first one is from a lady whose son, 14-year-old son, wants to go on a two-night sleepover without parental supervision. And she's really upset because the only supervision is an 18-year-old brat. But her husband says this is the way children grow up. Then there's the 50-year-old man who never wanted children, never wanted to get married, and suddenly has had a complete reversal because his parents died and he feels there's no one to carry on the family name. And so he wants to get married now, but he thinks he might be too old. And lastly, a lady who's married to a very nice man whom she's deeply in love with, but she finds out he's a brat and wants everything his own way, and she thinks he should grow up. All these and more on Sweet and Sour coming up now.
Got a problem, big or small, would a miracle be nice? Our motley crew is back, churning out advice. You might even laugh a bit in the following half hour. Park your backside on the couch, cause baby it's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on Sweet and Sour.
How's the sugar in there, baby?
It's time for Sweet and Sour.
How's about some chili?
It's time for Sweet and
Hello,
Sour.
how are you? Thank you for joining us. And here we have a bright panel with us tonight. And we're going to say hello to them right now. First of all, a very eminent person here in Western Australia, Dr. Peter Dingle. Good evening.
Good evening, Max.
Doctor, how are you?
Fantastic. I'm extremely
You're
well
an associate
and just so glad to be here.
It's so lovely to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
You've had your head polished, I see.
Wonderful. Cut out the glare.
It's splendid. So tell us, what's happening with you, Peter?
Oh, look, generally just enjoying life. I spent a week over in Victoria, 2 weeks over in Victoria doing a speaking tour.
Oh, really?
In country towns from Bendigo to Warrnambool to Ballarat to so on, and now it's come back here, and then I've got 2 or 3 more ventures over there.
Do they speak English over there, do they?
Slowly.
Slowly.
With the country.
And now we say hello to the lovely Rhonnie Barratt-Hill.
Well,
Barratt-Hill.
hello, Max.
That's hyphenated, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is.
Very posh
It's
hyphenated
very posh.
name.
It's not double hyphenated from my own name. It's a real name.
Barratt-Hill.
It has.
Is your husband's name, is it?
It's my husband's
And
name.
he's a
Absolutely.
Barratt-Hill.
Absolutely.
Awfully,
Yes,
awfully.
it is.
And what do you do, tell me?
Well, at the moment I'm being an internet website strategist,
Uh-huh.
working for Clue Design, saving animals by the afternoon, and working for a music studio, which I own, Little Seed Studios, and working with bands by
Wonderful.
night.
Bands.
Yes, I do. I'm a very busy girl.
Multi-talented girl.
Multi-talented,
We'll speak
very
more,
busy.
I promise. And here is the lovely Lezly O'Donoghue. Top of the morning to you.
I'm Irish, yes, or Irish heritage.
You are?
I am, yes.
Yeah.
I'm a recruitment consultant for Harries Recruitment. Nothing exciting like a doctor or a
That's
recording
exciting.
studio.
You have to recruit all these people for Hancock and all these other people? All
I
these
do,
big,
yes, I do. I recruit
Rio
a lot
Tinto,
of
do you
people.
do
I
these
do
guys?
Rio Tinto and a lot of other companies, yes.
So if we wanted a job up there, you're the person to talk to.
I could be the person to talk to, yes.
I'd be good in one of these big mover things, you know?
I don't do dump trucks or anything like
Oh, you
that.
don't? What do you do? You
entry
do-
level.
I see. Okay, well, we
Yeah,
can do that as well.
we can.
Talking about tertiary level, we're saying hello to Billy Connolly. Hello, Billy.
Oh,
Dr.
Max,
Peter-
well,
It's so good to be here. It is Dr. Peter Natras. No, not Natras at all.
You said that
Harries.
outside. You spend too much time in the
Hello,
company
Peter.
of medical people.
I do. There's so many doctors around here.
And before you ask me, I'd like
Yes.
to point out that
Yep.
the Reverend Doctor across the other side there without the Reverend and I are real doctors.
Yes.
We are these sort of doctors, not these sort of doctors.
No, I know that.
Oh,
I know
married to
that,
one of
that,
these
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
doctors.
yeah.
No, no,
You're
we're
married
not
to
those.
these? No, you're
I'm
not.
married to a doctor.
Oh, no,
You're
you're
married
married
to
to a
nothing.
psychiatrist.
Right. Guys, we're going to read the very first letter. So eyes down, look in. Listen to this.
Looking.
And you've got to solve this problem.
Very good.
Dear Sweet and Sour, there's a huge blue brewing in my household of how much responsibility to place with our 14-year-old son. The latest episode is bringing this all to a head. My son wants to have a 2-day sleepover on the weekend at his friend's place. This is a usual event, but the issue on this occasion is that there will be zero parental control. The parents called me to say that whilst they are away for the 2 days, their son is quite responsible, and on previously similar situations, their 14-year-old has behaved perfectly. Their 18-year-old boy will also be at home during that weekend, but he has a reputation for being a brat. Our son is quite mature, but I feel anyone could be led astray with sufficient peer pressure or the influence of a delinquent 18-year-old. My husband has blasted me and told me to let the kid go. Making mistakes is the only way humans grow up. What to do? Paranoid Pam from Perth. Well, Dr. Dingle, what should they do?
Look, Pam, it's really simple. Your husband's got a lot of good advice. You've got to listen to him on this one. Look, at 14, your son is going to break free no matter what. So you can either hang on to those apron strings or let him go. But find that happy balance when you let him go. So you've got the 3 C's: controls, consequences, and checks. That is, make sure he knows what the rules and the regulations are, the control. So it's very, very clear to him what he can do and what he can't do. And if he breaks that, then you go to the consequences, and the consequences are, well, if that happens, then you know you have to pay, you have to do this, whatever it is. And finally, the checks. If something does go wrong, and it will, because they're 14 and they're designed to create mischief, and if something does go wrong, then he needs someone to call and to be able to say, look, I need help, I need someone to talk to, can you come pick me up, or whatever, so that they don't have to then rely on other peers, because if you rely too much on the peers, you'll be absolutely messed up. So stay in touch, let them go with it, and but with the controls, consequences, and checks.
Good advice. There you are, from a doctor, no less. Well, a doctor of... and you, who are married to the doctor.
And have a
Rhonnie.
psychology degree myself.
Yes.
Men's brains, they don't actually advance until the age of 30. 14-year-old. What are you going to do? Good advice, Dr. Dingle, but I would say, yes, have those consequences in place, but you cannot trust it. An 18-year-old in charge of a 14-year-old, not on my watch, no chance, no sir, no way. Not going to happen. My child, not going to happen. So...
You haven't got a child.
I know, but
if you had one.
If I had one,
yes,
not a chance. I would not be putting an 18-year-old in charge of a 14-year-old. I know what goes on. I still party with these kids. And I work in a recording studio. It's not going to happen on my watch. I know what goes on. No chance. Sign off.
There you are. There's another point of view. Lezly, what about you?
I actually,
in your gentle fashion.
In my gentle fashion.
You are a gentle lady. You're a gentle soul.
I actually look after my 2 youngest sisters, and they're about the age of 14, or the eldest is. I would say they're going to do it anyway, regardless of whether you let them. At least this way you know where they are and you have some sort of idea of what's going on, because you know the address and you know the other kids. Whereas if you're not going to, I guess, let them do it now, they might sneak out and do it another time without you actually being aware. At least the parents have called you and said, hey, look, we're not going to be there, so you can prepare for that. I moved out of home when I was 15 because I was brought up by my grandparents and they were quite strict. So I would say let them experience it while they can. Or
you look like a responsible kind of person, you do. That's beautiful advice. Dr. Peter Harries.
When I was 14, I was smoking in the street in Pinjarra. And Mr. Beecham, the grocer, said to me, "Are you old enough to be smoking?" I said, "I had my first naughty when I was 12. He said, "Did you? What was that like?" I said, "I don't know, I was drunk at the time." The thing is, if your children have been brought up properly and know the 7-letter word, R-E-S-P-E-C-T, respect, if they've been taught to respect other people and other people's property, if they followed the advice, or you followed the advice of Thomas Aquinas, who said, "Give me the boy till he's 7 and I'll show you the man," then you can let your 14-year-old go off and do anything that he would wish to do. But if you haven't followed that I have just spoken, of which I've just spoken, never finish a sentence with a preposition.
No, never.
Then keep him at home with you.
There you are. There's a view from our panel. We'll be back with you in a few moments. Thank you for joining us once again on Sweet and Sour. And remember, if you would like a letter, if you'd like to send a letter to Sweet and Sour, here is your address. It's letters@sweetandsour.net.au. letters@sweetandsour.net.au. You can also catch us on Facebook, facebook.com/Sweet and Sour. Nothing could be easier. And if you are lucky enough to have a letter published or read out here, you will be sent to the movies to see The Three Stooges, and I believe it's absolutely hilarious. And that's by kind permission of NRC Communications. So there you are. We're going to read out our letter. Now, I find these letters a bit serious, actually. I think we should have more sex and more deviations and things, but still, we can hardly get them, you know, to think people send them in. So a few more of the deviation, want a few transvestites to write to us. Hi panel, I've never married, never wanted to, have always believed the grass is greener on my side, and let me tell you, it is. I never wanted kids, so it was always easy on my mind knowing that I had the perfect world for someone of my mindset. The world through my eyes has now changed 180 degrees. I lost both my parents within the last 18 months, sorry about that, and now I desperately want my own kids to perpetuate their memory and to feel the sense of family that I have lost. I'm sure that many people find themselves in my position, but here's the rub for me. I'm approaching 50. The question is, can I find a woman of child-rearing age who wants kids as much as I do and who is prepared to take on a man much older? I've never had trouble attracting women, oh, big shot, and have always broken off relationships when they wanted something more permanent. Have I left it too late to marry with the expectation of having kids? I met plenty of women at wine bars, clubs and socially, but none who I would assess as maternal. They seem to be all to me, all me, good timers. And that's from Brad of Lower Templestowe. What do you think? And that's Peter Harries. You know about these things, huh, Peter?
I know what I think of poor old Brad. He's 50 years of old age. Old age. And pretty soon you'll be singing that Willie Nelson song, On a Commode Again. I'll tell you what.
That was
50 and he's 50 and you haven't been married yet. There are plenty of women who want to get married of childbearing age. I have some very good Filipino friends, and you can get a bad one, but if you deal with me, I could put you onto a really nice Filipino girl, and I'm sure that she'll have a lot of children, look after you in your dotage, which isn't very far away, is it? As what's his name would say, Ringo Starr.
Yeah, what was it?
I'll get by with a little help from my depends.
Thank you. Dr Peter Harris, other alias Billy Connolly. Lezly, no, a note here. I mean, you know these things, and you are very, very. How can I say? Sympathetic.
Sympathetic. I am sympathetic, but the only thing I can suggest is I hope you're rich, because at 50, girls are going to be after the money.
Is that so?
You mean? Do you know what?
Oh, but
not
Tom
me.
Cruise is 50.
Not me personally. Yeah, but
he's not a bad-looking guy.
Me personally, not so much. I'm in it for love, not money, but I don't have many girlfriends for the reason that I think 90% of them are gold-digging whores. And at the age of...
I can't believe it. I'm shocked. I'm shocked, Lezly.
Don't you
She said, oh, I can't believe it. Oh, God. Excuse me. Oh, I must have a glass of water. Excuse me.
You said you wanted
So-
something.
Oh, you are. You're doing a bit refreshing. Yes, tell me about the whores.
That's the only part you picked up on, wasn't it?
No, I heard all the rest of it. I can't remember what it was, but I remember the
I
horse.
would say what Peter said, and I would go get myself a little Filipino wife, and they'll cook and clean and have your babies.
I think the Filipinos are getting a bad rap here tonight.
Good rap.
Good rap.
Well, he says his grass is always green on the other side. You laid your grass, lay in it, you know? Nothing. I'm not interested. I think you're boring. I think you're over it, and you're not going to pick up anyone, really.
He does, he picks up people, he says.
Oh, he picks them up. He ain't going to do anything with them and have children.
Viagra.
Yeah, well, maybe Viagra, but yeah.
You mean
he's
shoots
missed the
blanks
boat.
then?
He's not thinking straight. He wants children to make himself feel awesome and masculine. But if he wants some chick to carry his babies, he's wrong. You know, some chick has to also feel cool with him, and he's just looking for someone to be a carrier for his little chipmunks. Not going to happen. Bad
Talking
luck.
about these things.
Too sad, too bad. Over it.
Okay, you finished? Dr Dingle, very apt name.
Well, look, yeah, it's a great name.
Great name.
Rings a bell.
It does, rings a bell.
Rings a bell.
Yes.
You can't get it. Look. At the end of the day, we all go through life-changing events, but you've made your choices, Brad. You've got to sleep in the bed that you've made. As a consequence, look, I don't think you need to go to the Philippines. I just reckon you need to change places where you go looking for women. You're not going to go to if you go to a bar, if you go to a big social events and so on, people aren't going to be there for the reason to, a maternal, well, let's go and meet this guy and mate and make love and have babies and things like that. If you go to a bar, you go for a bar to, party on and rage. So find a place where you're going to meet some people of 10 years, 15 years younger, if they're healthier. If they're healthier, hey, if they eat well, supplement a day, look after themselves, you'll be right.
You missed the boat.
But you did make the wrong choices.
Thank you. There you are. I think it's generally felt that you're a selfish prick. We'll be back with you shortly.
People who think they know me think I'm incredibly sweet, but actually I have the propensity to be as sour as a pickled plum. I'm very generous at giving out my advice, but I expect you to listen.
And here we are. I must apologise to our last letter writer when I called him a selfish prick. I must tone this down. He is actually a selfish tool. So there we are. Having said that, we've got the last letter now. As I said, no sex in this one. This is very straightforward. So eyes down, looking. What an age of spoiled brats we live in. Everyone wants to know now, and wants everyone else to make decisions easy, or they pass on them completely. Let me crystallise this for you. I've been married for 14 months, God, that's a long time, to a wonderfully warm and loving man. I love him enormously, but every time he wants to do something, he has to do it or he throws a tantrum, sulks and won't speak until he's got his own way. Like going on a small cruise with his mates, even though we are supposed to be saving up to go to Europe. Then, when a job offer came his way, which offered him $40,000 more, he was scared of the additional responsibility and said, better the devil you know than the one you don't. And he passed it up. So how do we get someone to grow up and take responsibility? I love him desperately, but what a little brat he's turned out to be. And there's another Pam. Lots of Pams today. Lezly. Now, our sympathetic Lezly will now preside.
Well, I live in the age of now. I'm of that era where I want things yesterday and I can't wait. Oh, yep.
You don't look like that.
I'm very impatient.
Are you?
Yeah.
You want it right now?
I want it right now.
What do you want?
Everything.
Everything?
Yes. Happiness. Actually, I've got happiness, so that's a lie.
Have you got happiness?
Yeah, I do.
Have you got a boyfriend?
I do.
Oh, is he lovely?
He is lovely, yes.
Okay, that's nice.
I'm not sure why she married him if she felt this way. Like, shouldn't she have known?
Perhaps didn't know he was going to be like that when she married him.
How can you not, though? If I would like to know how long she was with him before that.
People hide their feelings. You might find that with your boyfriend. You might find he's a monster.
No,
maybe a killer.
He's exactly like this, but I love him anyway. I just don't see how he.
He's exactly like this?
Yeah.
Is he a selfish brat?
He's not selfish, but he lives in the same era as me, and he wants everything that he wants. Yeah.
Spoiled.
Yeah. I think all boys are to a degree, and I don't think they grow up for a very long time. So she either has to learn to live with it, or I'm not quite sure why she married him in the first place.
Okay, there you are. What can I tell you, Pam? Peter.
Yeah, well, that bit about throwing tantrums and sulks and no speaks and that sort of thing, that's a bit off. I do really think that is a bit off. And this business about going off with these mates on cruises, is he a bit, you know, batting for the other side, as they say? I don't use that word that means happy.
No.
Well, I will. Is he a bit gay, do you think? But
it's all right, but not that there's anything wrong with that.
Has your sexiness got anything to do with it? Perhaps.
Or lack of sexiness.
Well, that's what I mean, her sexiness, yeah. Or the lack of, that's exactly what I mean. But I think he's just got no respect, that 7-letter word again has come up. He's probably never been cold or hungry in his life, like most young people today. They haven't suffered through wars, as Max and I have.
Vietnam.
We did Vietnam, yes, World War II.
No, you have to.
Spanish War.
You were World War One.
Spanish War.
You really are you're the last of the old.
But
diggers.
I do sympathise with this girl. I think that you've married far too soon. You expect far too much from this hooligan to whom you are wed. And the best thing you can do is just clear off. Go. Vamoose. Nick off. Go on out of here. Go on.
I can't believe it that men want to go on cruises or go away from their wife. I could never get out at night. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't go with the guys. I've never done that. And I don't think my wife would ever let it. Are we wrapping up already? Ronnie.
Well, I think
What do
he's
you
a
think?
loser, and I would just
The
bust
guy's a loser.
He's an absolute loser.
He's a
40 grand
tosser.
job. He tossed off a 40 grand job. What is he, 15 years of age? That's how much I was earning when I was 15. What a boring little bastard.
No, it wasn't. It's 40 grand extra.
Oh, 40 grand extra. Oh,
Yeah,
what's
it
he on?
wasn't 40,000.
45 grand now. Oh.
No.
No, he's boring. He's boring. He's a loser. Ditch him. Find someone awesome. You can do better. I can't imagine anyone. If you want to go on a cruise and you're my husband and going to go without me, you know the consequences. It
Ronnie,
ain't going
you've
to
been
happen.
quite negative tonight, I've got to say.
I am negative. That's my line.
You're
What about that bloke that
Would you
wants
like
a
your
girl
husband
to marry,
go on
have
cruises
children?
and things?
Not a chance
What about
in
that
a
bloke that
lifetime.
wants a girl to marry to have children? Why don't we get these two together? Brad,
The guy and the guy.
the old bloke.
And
No.
I
He'll
don't think they're going to
stay
have
home.
children.
No.
He won't go off on cruises.
No, he's a loser. I'd say let him go, find something better, aim higher, marry a doctor. Dr.
Oh, there you
Dingle.
are, Dr. Dingle.
I'm taken. Thank you very much for the offer.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Look, there's a lot of issues in here. At the end of the day, you got a choice. You can do as the other good doctor said over there. Just get out.
Thank you, Doctor.
That's one way. That's the cheap way.
That's Mrs. Doctor to you.
But at the end of the day, you're going to end up with the same results. I mean, you tend to go with the people, and you'll keep repeating the same mistakes until you get someone who you can evolve with. I reckon you hang in there, but you've got to set again some rules. You've got to develop some mutual respect, and you've got to say, well, okay, look, you're going to do that, but is that what a good relationship and a marriage is really about? Then, if you get shit thrown in your face and they say, well, hey, no, then that's the time to get out. Another option is to look for a little bit of, I suppose, help. You know, if this guy's having troubles and maintaining the relationship and doing what you need, maybe you two guys need to, do some, well, probably not counselling, but kinesiology or even osteopathy or something like that, and find out. Find out something. But at the end of the day, it's also not about Pam getting her own way as well. It's about evolving in a relationship together. That's what I think.
Well, there you are. I'm sorry, I don't know. We've had a lot of losers on tonight, I've got to tell you. A lot of losers. But what can we say? But we have to choose the best letter. Now,
Best
who's the
loser.
best? The best of the losers.
Best of the losers.
Who would most benefit by a lovely pair of sunglasses from Aussie Opticals? Who would most benefit?
Yeah, the old guy with nothing.
The old guy with nothing else. You're
He can't
50-year-old.
see anything anyway.
At least
No.
you'll be able to have
Get him some rose-coloured.
rose-tinted glasses.
Rose-coloured.
Yeah. And is it
rose-coloured.
going to Brad?
Brad,
From
so
and
you
that's
can do.
with pleasure.
Go to church, you
from
might find
Aussie
a young
Opticals.
woman there that
Well,
wants
there you
to-
are,
Rose-coloured glasses.
guys. Thank you very much for joining us, Peter. Thank you for thank you for letting me have you.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me without having to scream.
Wonderful. And Ronnie, thank you for letting me have you.
You haven't yet.
But soon.
The night is young.
And Lezly, some sanity to this program.
Barely.
Poor, you said. I'll never forget that. Never forget that. Have you enjoyed it?
I have enjoyed
Lovely.
it.
Come back
Loves
soon.
I shall.
Dr. Peter.
What kind of noodling? Where you langrick and all that other Scottish nonsense.
And there we are. Thank you very much, and we're out of here. See you all soon. Bye now. Bye.